Welcome to These Nuts Garage, and today, should we rescue this 1988 Chevrolet 1500 or should we let it sit? Alrighty, like I said in the intro, this is the 1988 Chevrolet 1500. Now, before we get too far in this video, there is going to be some background noise. Over here, we got some roosters are crowing. Back over here, we had some dogs are barking. And then in this area, because I live in a kind of a rural area, a bunch of farmland, it is deer season. I believe it's muzzleloader season right now, so there may be a gunshot here or there. I just heard one a while ago. Sound like he missed. But we're safe here on our farm because there's nobody hunting out here, so I'm good to go. All right, so like I said, this is a Chevrolet, and it was parked around 2003, 2004. This was my wife's grandfather's truck, and he kind of didn't take the greatest care of things. He's always just kind of, you know, lived through the Great Depression, and then you just made things work. And he kind of, that carried on through the rest of his life. And I always had to keep going back and trying to fix things that he broke. And this is one of the projects that I did not fix at the time. And it has, like I said, been sitting here since 2003, 2004. So what we're going to do is I'll take you for a walk around the truck. And then after I take you for a walk around the truck, I'll see what's wrong with it. Because up here, we have had some of those thieves, you know, they come in, those meth heads that like to come in and steal stuff. There is a few things they have stolen off of this truck and a lot of stuff off of this farm. And then we'll see what's missing and kind of go over what was wrong with it, what I did to try to fix it, and then basically see what the viewers, y'all want to see me do with this truck. So let's get started on the tour. All right, I'm going to try to do this one-handed holding this camera. Now, you can see it's pretty grown up. We got a cedar tree over there, and we got this tree, got a couple of little trees, but I think the tires on it were good. I kind of got up here a while ago and kind of kicked around. It got a little air in it. And then we got, trying to get further enough back away from the trees. I got all this old trees in the way and this old corn picker here. You can see the paint is just, these Chevrolets were bad about the white paint, just, you know, falling off of it. And I guarantee if I pressure wash this truck, a lot more of this is going to come off. So we may have a gray truck after we pressure wash it. And the top, of course, it's kind of got the surface rust on it. I don't think anything is rusted out on it yet. So it's probably a good time to start pulling it out of here. But you can see in the bed is just full of debris. I think that's a fan shroud that come off of it. Let's pop this toolbox here. Maybe nothing will come flying out. So looks good in the toolbox. We got a beauty ring, and if you don't know what those little yellow things are, and they're for electric fences. We got a idler pulley. Looks like we got some stuff over there. Toolbox still works fine. The rear tire is still on it. I think it's got air. I'm trying to see if I had all my beauty rings. It's got a little air in it. It'll air up. Of course, this is the way back down here behind our house. As you can see, if you get down there and look, you'll see that it says September 2004 is when it was last registered. Coming back on this side, same thing with the paint. Looks like the tires got a little air in it. Now, this window is busted out and been busted out for years, and I've used to have it covered, and wind blew it off, and water has gotten into it. So the interior is kind of in bad shape, but I think a lot of it could be taken apart, cleaned, and redone. I don't know about the floor pan since it's been sitting here with no wind in it for a long time. I'm hoping that this floor pan isn't completely rusted out. Now we'll open up the door. It does, the doors do seem to be sagging because of those hinges. Have to replace them. Have to replace the door panels. It is a manual, and manual locks on the windows and doors. There's the bench seat inside and all the just the debris. There's, I think, a cover for the fuse box. One thing about this truck is that I don't know where the key is at. And I think with these trucks, they have a little sensor that you have to have that on the key in order for the truck to start. But I'm not 100% for sure. Hoping I don't kick up a rat. I mean, the floor sounds pretty solid. Here's Elvis. How great thou art. The king, baby. It looks like behind the seat, pretty good. Behind this board, I don't see no rattlesnakes or water moccasins. Headliner's kind of shot, but I mean, it's still there. That even the dash isn't cracked. It could be cleaned. The seat would have to be replaced. Kind of what I thought was is find one of the trucks that had the bucket seats in it with a console in the middle and put in there. Replace the radio and that kind of thing. And we'll walk back around to the driver's side and open this door. And then we'll come back and check up underneath the hood. And like I said, the doors are both sagging. Now this truck has, get you in there so you can see it, 95,758. Now around, I think he bought this truck maybe when it had around 50,000 miles. He bought it used and drove it for a long time. Hardly ever drove it, but when he did drive it, he never changed the oil in it. I would honestly think that Papa probably put cooking oil in this truck at some point, just because he just wasn't big on, you know, maintenance. Maintenance was not his thing. His thing was drive it until it breaks, and that's what he did here. Now, one thing about this particular year, it has these gauges, and they're horrendous. They always break. They never read right. So you can buy an aftermarket set of digital or gauges that have needles to replace this. I seen some on a forum this morning. For about $400, you get the whole kit, and you can just replace those gauges. So that's one thing that I know we'd have to do when we got into the inside. Now let's go check out underneath the hood, if we can get it up. I was out here yesterday, saw about 3 or 4 deer over there, and one come running back through here down to our lower field over there. All right, let's check this out. Maybe there ain't a raccoon gonna jump out at us. All righty, so here's the powerhouse we got. Now this is a 4.3 liter V6 Chevrolet engine, and the problem that Papa had is that it just started to where it would turn. It wouldn't even turn over. It was just, and if it did, it was really fast, but the engine wasn't even moving. It was just the starter was going and something was clanking, but there wasn't any movement in the engine itself. So get down here and look. I mean, it ain't buried up like some of them guys on that Restore channel. They got stuff piled up all in here, so I think we're good with that. Being that the truck has such low miles, originally it's not in bad shape. It could be cleaned up and got to going. Alrighty, so I moved over here to tell you what was wrong with this engine. Now, one day, like I said, he went out there to start it up. There was just, the starter was going and there was a lot of clanking going on. And I thought he had broke, and then it kind of seized up. The starter would just engage and go clank, and it wouldn't do anything. So I figured he had locked up this engine. So I tried to, you know, move it down here. I couldn't get it to move, couldn't get it to do anything. So I was like, well, he's locked up the motor. And I found a 305 out of something else that was not even this correct year, and I was going to put it in here. Well, when I went to pull this engine out, what I had found was the flywheel had shattered on the back of the engine. And I was like, well, that's all it was. The flywheel broke. So pulled the engine, put a new flywheel on it, dropped the engine back down in the truck, and started to start the truck up. And it would turn over, but at first it started to run. But when it started to run, it was blowing out a lot of white smoke. You could, you know, just looks like you were spraying for mosquitoes. It was so bad. So what I found was, after like looking at the exhaust manifolds back here, the very back exhaust manifold, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it very well. We got a bush growing right here. Let me clear this out the way. All right, so right back here, if you look right there, and then we have an exhaust manifold here. Right there's the one in the middle, and then that back one back there. Let me see if I can zoom in. You'll see, like right there, it's black. And what it was doing, there was so much oil coming around the rings and the piston that the oil was coming out of the exhaust manifold right there, through the gasket and all. So I was like, oh, that rear cylinder disintegrated or something. Now, it wasn't making a loud knocking noise, so I'm just assuming that something happened with that cylinder. It locked up or something happened, and it caused that flywheel to break, or the flywheel was spinning. And I heard that they were prone to breaking. If I'm not correct, comment down below. But maybe the flywheel broke, and when it did, since that cylinder is one of the ones closest to the flywheel back there, I don't know, it did something to the rings or that piston. I'm going to be really interested in pulling this motor and tearing it down and seeing exactly what happened, and seeing that, because I don't know whether it was the flywheel that caused the issue or that piston, but either way, the motor went kaput. So I pulled it back down here and just let it sit. And what I'll do, maybe in the future, we can get enough likes to this video, and I'll talk about that here in a minute. We'll just try to turn this engine over, and I mean, we could try to throw something down that. I don't know. There's no water getting inside the engine, because if there was, you would see it, you know, up here. There's no water getting in here, so it's dry. We might be able to just suck out all those leaves and pour some fuel down it and see what happens. But I doubt anything. So we'll talk about that here in a minute. Alrighty, so here's the question. Should we save this old truck or should we not? Now, I'm going to kind of do this in stages. Once this video reaches so many likes, I'll pull the truck out, and what we'll do is we'll pressure wash the truck, clean up the interior as best we can, get underneath the hood cleaned up, and get the truck a little bit more presentable than it is sitting here in the bushes. Now, after that, I'm gonna need about 100 likes on this video. So if you haven't given the video a big thumbs up and you want us to see us rescue this old Chevrolet, give it a big thumbs up. Now, comment down below. I mean, if you have any suggestions on what we could do to it. You know, one thing I thought about was, once after I pressure wash it, I need to get I think it's like a boiled linseed oil that you can put on them. And what that kind of does is kind of protects the paint, or what's left of the paint, and the metal, stuff like that. What we can do in the future is the passenger side window. Like I said, I need to get a window, get that installed, just to kind of preserve the interior as best as I can. Something else kind of long term, if I can get a lot of likes and comments on these videos, on this series of this truck, what I'll do is we'll start looking for another engine. Now, this truck has 95,000 miles, so the transmission should be in fairly good shape. Maybe if we pull the engine out, we pull the transmission, take the transmission somewhere and have them kind of go through it and make sure it's okay. There is brake fluid in the truck. I don't know if the brakes are locked up or not, but that's something else that we could do, is a brake video where we go through that. And then figure out an engine for this truck. I don't know if I would try to find another 4.3 liter, put back in it, or do I try to find a 350 to put in it? Do we go carbureted? Do we because this is a throttle body fuel injection system on it. You know, the injectors sit up in the throttle body on top of the intake. So we could do something with that. It's a little bit easier to swap out with maybe, I think Holly or Demon or somebody makes the fuel injected throttle body carburetors that go on top of them. So you could go that route. A lot of different routes. So if you got an idea, comment that down below. And if you want me to see me save this old Chevrolet, don't forget to like this video, comment on this video, subscribe to this channel. So as we're dragging this thing out, you'll get to see it. And also share this video. If you got a buddy that's got one of these trucks or somebody that's a big Chevrolet fan, send it to them and see what they got to say about it. So that's going to be it. I'm going to get out of here. I got a bunch of other stuff to do down at our house. So I'll see y'all in the next video, and have a blessed day.